Hey friends, I think our next caller's name is Michael. Michael, how are you?
I cannot complain. How about yourself?
I'm doing really well, thank you. I like your energy. What can I do for you?
Thank you very much. So, I have a 6-year-old son on the spectrum, and potty training has been, a challenge for the past 2 years. His speech is very limited, and he struggles to recognize or even express his emotions. At this point, he runs to me after he has already peed or pooped, but he still doesn't give any signal beforehand. So, my question is, how can I help him learn to communicate or maybe recognize the need before it happens? I'd really appreciate advice. I know you probably have experience in that, but yeah, I'm in need of some guidance.
Yeah, okay, so I just want to confirm he does indicate when he has used the restroom, is that correct?
Yeah, usually after he's already done it.
Okay, so he clearly understands the feeling of using number one, number two, maybe both, maybe just one of those. How did you get to that point?
How? It's something he's always done. I think.
Uh, okay, not impossible, but highly unlikely.
Okay.
We often don't see we being the parents or teachers or educators, we often don't see the little reinforcers. When I say reinforcers, I'm talking about rewards that got us to an outcome. And so, for example, the first time he pottied and there was like a good job or there was this excitement, then the that is a form of reinforcement. That's something that teaches that behavior to continue, and that acts as a really major word. So I guess a question here is the first time he indicated, did you get excited? Were you guys jumping up and praising him? Do you praise that action today? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I did. The excitement is lower now, but I still do.
Okay. Okay, so perfect. Great job, by the way. I'm not trying to say that that's wrong, but that right there is a form of reward and reinforcement.
Oh, okay. I see. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
So you've also mastered one piece of potty training to give you the answer is there's I'm gonna kind of jump into an answer here. I don't know this is gonna be perfect because potty training is a bit of a difficult one. Um, but there's really some key phrases here to potty training, and I kind of wrote a couple things down when you asked your initial question. You've mastered the first phase, which I would call like understanding the feeling, right? And so that's understanding the feeling of using the restroom. And one of the things about diapers is they remove the reinforcer of that feeling because you don't feel being soiled, like you don't feel your underwear being wet when you're in a diaper. And so he knows the sensation of the muscles contracting, right? For a number two or for a number one, he knows the feeling of that. That's really good. The second is to know the timing. So know the feeling is about teaching the kid. Know the timing is about teaching the adult. The reason know the timing is critical is because your question to me is about how you preempt the activity. And so preempt the activity is really important for you to get on a regular schedule. And so what you can think about is things like diet and food and timing of water. And if you get really regimented around these things, you're going to start to notice patterns with the timing of the restroom. The third that I commonly communicate is communicate the need. That again is an education with the kid. And then the fourth would be perform the action on the potty. Now that's an oversimplification, right? Um, and I I I think um, the best thing that I need to know, I probably want to ask you one more question here, is are there any specific patterns that you've noticed? Like, are you noticing timing that exists right now? I'm trying to pinpoint where we are at in that four phase cycle that I brought out. So do you know any patterns that exist?
Patterns, yeah, usually a couple hours after eating, maybe an hour after drinking, and sometimes he rocks back and forth, but
Okay. Okay, it sounds a little bit like you're guessing, like you're still trying to pinpoint that thing, but that's where there's this really important concept called
yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay. Good. That's fine. Um, It's okay. There's this an important concept I want you to understand. It's called ABC, so antecedent behavior consequence, right? This is going to be really critical for you to identify timing. Once you get timing down, you're going to expedite your way through this whole thing because it sounds like you really care. That's critical. You know how to care. That's critical. So the idea is the antecedent, what is the precursor that is going to happen? In this case, a lot of times we think about antecedents with behaviors that are negative, but in this case, we're thinking about antecedent with a behavior that we want to occur. So, what are the subtle indicators that might exist that he needs to pee? And this is not going to be a form of communication you're used to. This is going to be a subtle body language shift. This is going to be you've actually set a timer from when you normally give him food and water, and you've started to document that, and the timer goes off. And so maybe it's exactly 35 minutes on average. For a couple weeks, you're just going to be in data collection mode. And once you get to a point where you're collecting the data, you've established the timing of the event, you've established a cadence, what you're going to do is you're going to be able to get to a point where you can have some type of predictive response. And maybe y'all are heading to the bathroom ahead of time, and you just go ahead and set him on the toilet, right?
Mm.
You're just hanging out on the toilet, he's sitting down, and magically, peace on the toilet, lose your shit. If that works, like, go crazy. That's awesome. If he freaks out when you go crazy, don't go so crazy. Just a subtle praise. Just, happy, good job. Like, make the reward enjoyable, especially for children with autism. Sometimes the absolute craziness is not actually a reward. It's a negative reinforcer, or you could argue it's a punishment, not a negative reinforcer. And so the moral of the story is you got to name this timing. You got to nail down this timing thing. And I just want you to remember that this is a game of inches, right? You're going to work your way towards being in the bathroom when the time is right. Then you're going to reward that, and you're going to be in that cycle for a few weeks, few months. You've been trying to figure this out for a few years, so I think you can deal with a few more weeks or months. And if you can land this right after you get the first one, you'll get the second one even faster. You'll get the third one even faster than that. The fourth one even faster than that, because he's chasing that same reward mechanism, right? Does that help you?
Oh, absolutely. This helps a lot. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Well, go forth and conquer. Just remember, have a plan. Be patient. You'll get there. Just make sure that you have this plan. And if you're executing on what I'm telling you, the way I'm telling you, I promise you things will start to fall in line a lot more effectively.